Okay. Hello.
Welcome to our Brenda and Brooke book talk. We'll be explaining the...
Catcher in the Rye.
Yes, we'll say the summary, the themes, the characters, some symbols. So we'll start with the summary.
Okay. So, Holden Caulfield is, again, about to get kicked out of yet another boarding school for flunking most of his courses, and he decides not to wait until the end of the term and he takes off for his hometown, Manhattan, a few days earlier than he should. He figures he'll end up in a cheap hotel, and he'll probably end up looking up a few friends and then arrive home on time. But Holden is deeply troubled by the death of his beloved younger brother from leukemia, as well as a classmate's suicide. But alone in an uncaring city, his already fragile life begins to unravel.
Yes. He's very depressed throughout the trip that he takes to New York.
Yeah.
He tries to just relax, but he can't. Poor kid.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go through the list of characters from most important to least important. And I'm going to start off here with Holden, the main character. If I can find it. Holden, as you know, is the main character of this book. He's mostly depressed throughout the novel, and he just got kicked out of Pensy Prep, and that's not the first school that he's been kicked out of because of his flunking classes. But he's good in English. He likes English. I don't know. He's very sad throughout the book, and he likes to be alone most of the time. He doesn't really get along with anybody either. And on to our next character, which is
Ackley. He is Holden's next-door neighbor in his dorm at Pensy Prep. Ackley has facial problems, and he has terrible hygiene, and mostly dental hygiene. His teeth are disgusting. He often barges into Holden's room and acts completely oblivious to Holden's hints that he should leave. Holden just doesn't even want him there. And he always is trying to get him to leave, but he doesn't want to be too rude about it. So he just tries to hint at it.
another kid that Holden doesn't like, is Ackley.
Yeah.
And on to the next character is Stradlater. He really doesn't like him either. It's his roommate at Pensy Prep. He calls Stradlater handsome all the time, and he thinks he's a secret slob. Like, he acts like he's like the best person around, and he's the neatest kid of them all, but secretly he's a slob. That's what Holden thinks. And they get into a couple fights, but it's nothing too bad.
Okay, on to our next character, which is Jane Gallagher. She is a girl who Holden spent a lot of time with in the summer. Their families were neighbors in their summer houses in Maine. Jane, she never actually appears in the Catcher in the Rye. He just talks about her. But she's extremely important to Holden because she's one of the few girls who he respects and finds attractive.
Yeah, he actually does not hate Jane Gallagher.
Yeah. But she never appears in the book. He just talks about her.
And Phoebe Caulfield, that's his 10-year-old sister, Holden's 10-year-old sister. She is very smart and intelligent, and she understands Holden. She listens to him and gets what he's saying, and she knows what he's going through. She's very smart, neat, and she's a really good dancer, and she's just a good person. attractive person to Holden. And on to the next.
which is Allie Caulfield.
It's a boy.
Yeah. It's
Sounds like a
Holden's younger brother. He died of leukemia 3 years before the start of this novel, actually. And Allie was a brilliant, friendly person. And according to Holden, he was one of the smartest Caulfields. But Holden, throughout his life, since Allie has died, has been tormented by his death. And he carries around Allie's baseball glove, in which Allie has written on the baseball glove. He wrote poems on it in green ink. So that's the one thing that Holden has left of him.
D.B. Caulfield. Were you done there?
I was done.
Okay. D.B. Caulfield. That's Holden's older brother. He writes books, and he goes to Hollywood. He's trying to write a movie or something, and I don't know if Holden really likes him that much. He said he's okay, but he likes his books.
Okay. On to the next one, Sally Hayes. She is a girl who Holden finds very attractive, and they dated for a long time. Holden claims that Sally is stupid, although it's difficult to tell whether this judgment is based on reality or is just in Holden's oblivion about him being attracted to her. She is more conventional than Holden in her tastes and manners.
Okay. Next character is Mr. Spencer. He was a teacher at Penn State Prep, and he was trying to tell Holden that he should take school seriously, and he should try in school.
Yeah.
But Holden didn't like that, so he left. I think he had a hairy chest or something.
What?
It
Okay.
smelled like Vicks.
I don't remember that part, but okay. Mr. Antolini is Holden's former English teacher back at his old school, Elkton Hills.
He got kicked out of that one, too.
Yeah. But Mr. Antolini, Holden actually respects him, and he's young, sympathetic, and likable. Holden sometimes finds him a bit too clever, but he looks to him for guidance. Okay.
He turned out to be a creep, too. Weird.
Next.
Is Maurice. Maurice is the elevator operator at Edmont Hotel, who pressures Holden into buying a prostitute.
And on to Sunny, who is the prostitute in which the elevator operator Maurice convinced Holden into buying.
I just said
I know. Okay. She is one of the numbers of women in the book with whom Holden clumsily attempts to connect. But they never end up actually doing anything. They just end up talking.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. To the
symbols.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some symbols that were in the book. The Catcher in the Rye. That's a symbol. Phoebe asks him what he wants to be when he's older, and he said the Catcher in the Rye. Which is, he stands at the end of a rye field where a cliff is and catches kids that were going to
fall off.
And it's a symbol because he doesn't want to grow up. That's
He hates adults.
He wants to be there forever where it's all children, and he doesn't want to grow up. That's what he wants to do. On to our next symbol.
Holden's red hunting hat. He wears it around because he thinks that he looks good in it. and he thinks that when he wears it, he's different, and he wants to be different. So that's basically why he wears it. Just the symbol that he. Yeah,
Is odd.
yeah. He definitely stands out because.
The Museum of Natural History and the carousel are both like symbols of things that don't change. They're always the same. The horses just go around and around in the same pattern. They never change. In the museum, he thinks the museum's cool because every time you go in it, all the displays are the same. The only thing that is changed was himself. He thinks that's scary, change.
Okay, on to the themes now.
10 minutes.
I
into
think that I picked the theme, the painfulness of growing up, because The Catcher in the Rye is a novel about a young character's growth into maturity. And Holden Caulfield is an unusual protagonist because his central goal is to resist the process of maturity itself. Like, he doesn't want to grow up. And
he hates like how adults act. He thinks adults act bony and different around different people. He likes kids. Kids are kids.
And as his thoughts about the Museum of Natural History demonstrate, Holden fears change and is overwhelmed with complexity. And he wants everything to be easily understandable and
nothing complicated about his life. That's why he's afraid to grow up.
Yeah. And he is frightened because he fears because he fears he's guilty of sin because he criticizes so many people, and he can't understand everything around him.
Okay.
Yep.
My theme is the alienation as a form of self-protection. He basically alienates himself to protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a buzz or something. Holden alienates himself, and it causes most of his pain. He never really attempts to discover the source of his troubles. He needs human contact and love, but he puts a wall up and he's afraid to look for that interaction between people. He doesn't like how people act. It scares him. So, for example, his loneliness propels him to go on a date with Sally Hayes, but his need of isolation causes him to insult her and drive her away. So, sad. And also in the story, he wants to meet up with Jane Gallagher, but he's also too frightened to make any real contact with her. And he depends on his alienation, but it destroys him in the end.
So he's just he's actually troubled, but
yeah. And
it's kind of sad in a
his
way.
interaction with people, with other people, confuses him and overwhelms him, so he doesn't like it. I feel bad. That's what depresses him.
Yep. So that sums up our book talk.
And catch us again later.
Goodbye.